This is a Hot Pie Media original. Hi, I'm Deb, and this is my podcast.
You're listening to the Deb O'Keefe Podcast, the podcast where Deb O'Keefe doesn't know anything.
Do you ever really want that home-cooked food, stuff like your mum would make or that you would make if you had the time or the ability? I know I don't. Well, that's why I go to Festive Kitchen, festivekitchen.com/Deb. That gets you 20% off your first order. They are amazing. It's all unprocessed, handmade food. You can recognize the food as you look at it. It's not like some mushed up weird ingredients that came out of a machine. These are chef prepared and you order them to your home. They'll come in a great box that's well protected and insulated and dry ice. And you can cook the food that you love, that you miss, maybe that your mum used to make. Beef lasagna, chicken pot pie, chicken enchiladas, mac and cheese. They even send you cookie dough balls. You can cook fresh cookies in your house and you don't have to make them. There's no mess. festivekitchen.com/Deb. Get your first order today, 20% off. festivekitchen.com/Deb. On the podcast today, we've got an amazing guest coming up. If you love movies, animated movies, voiceovers, Nickelodeon shows, you're gonna love my guest. So stick around for that. But I walked in to the studio a little while ago just to get set up and make some notes and do my things and drink some water. I actually had some peanut butter and cheese crackers over here. You don't need to know about that. It's fine. I was hungry. And I was the producer here, Colton, asked me if I had a nice week and weekend and stuff since I'd last seen him, and I had to think for a minute because I don't know, COVID, I just can't think of, nothing is still right yet, but I remembered that the highlight of my weekend was going to my friend's baseball game, my friend's kid's baseball game. He's 8 and they're starting to get good, so it's fun to watch, and I was actually watching a movie with the other kid, the other son on my lap. He didn't want to watch the game, so I was kind of doing both. But it was really nice to see my friends' sons always, and watching them play baseball is fun too. And then I was telling our producer Colton that we didn't have baseball growing up. I mean, I'm sure it was existing, it was going on, just not in my country, and it certainly wasn't shown on the television. No, not in England. But we did play a game called Rounders. I think we just basically looked up the rules of softball or baseball and then forgot them and then wrote a game, because it was 2 teams fielding, hitting. You had a pitcher and a backstop, as we called them. And I still continue to call them in baseball and softball now, even though that's very incorrect. And then, you'd hit the ball and run around the thing. It's like a stick. It wasn't a big baseball bat, but it was wooden. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'm a fast runner. I was good around the bases if I got on the base, because I'm actually not very good at all. But when I moved to the States and I was working at my first radio job, we had a company softball team. And I thought, well, I'm going to do it. So I did, and I'm not even sure if I ever once in like the 4 years I was on the team did I ever get a hit. I was pretty tragic, but not my fault. Never had any coaching, never had any experience. I'm just watching baseball, playing rounders. I was understandably shy, but I went on to another company where I didn't play for that company's softball team. Did we have one? We did have one, but we actually set up a league softball tournament, and my team, Team Deb, played against my old partner's team, Team Jason, and we actually even played at the Ramrock Express field a few times. Yeah, had a whole tournament. It was amazing. But did I ever get any hits? Did I ever get any runs? You know what? I definitely got hits and on bases. I'm not sure if I ever in my whole life career have any type of a run been, from myself or someone else batting me in. And I'm probably really, really, really messing up all of these baseball and softball terms, aren't I? So I'm sorry if you're cringing. But yeah, go ahead and look Rounders up. It's kind of funny. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I'm talking to all of you out there because this young man I'm about to talk about appeals to a wide audience, very wide audience. And I think is about to appeal maybe to some others as well, because this guy's done everything, all right? He's an actor, he's a producer, he's a director, writer, singer, composer, philanthropist. We're getting into that in the interview. And it is Primetime Rush star Stephen Kramer Glickman.
You go.
Did I get any of that right? I bet you there's 20 things I could add to your bio that people don't know about that you've done along the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm mostly known for is for being on this show on Nickelodeon that was called Big Time Rush. It was a boy band show, and I played the manager of the boy band for 5 years on Nick. So that kind of kicked off my my whole thing in a lot of ways, you know.
It kicked it off for us people who didn't know what you're doing. But you've been working for years. You're a creator. You're a performer. Your resume that I read through it's super impressive. And like I said, I know that there's so much more. But this Big Time Rush is what you put you on the map. And you know, I'm older, so you know I didn't see it. I know of it. But I asked some of the kids. I asked some of the kids around the building. Yeah, you're a big deal, dude.
Stop now.
Old people like me, we don't know. Maybe we need to go back and look into some of this.
Well, you know, it was, I guess it was the highest rated premiere in the history of the Nickelodeon network when it came on TV in 2009. No, God, we got a 14.9 in the ratings, which is like Super Bowl numbers. For Nickelodeon, it's like unheard of. And it mostly is because we had 4 very talented guys on a show singing and dancing and being funny. And we also were insanely lucky because the writing staff on our show, they've all gone off to, you know, write huge, gigantic, amazing, insane, crazy things. Like Jessica Gao left our show to go write the show Rick and Morty. And she's currently writing She-Hulk for Marvel.
Wow.
And you know, most of our writing staff, they've all gone off to go write stuff and win Emmys and be amazing. And we just got really lucky. I got super lucky being attached to that rocket ship, basically. Right. So it was cool.
Does Nickelodeon? Now, I didn't grow up in Nickelodeon. We didn't have it when I was a kid in England. But are these the type of shows that would go on and have like a one-off spin-off movie where you guys all come back and catch up? Is that ever in the works? Are you guys talking about something like that?
They do stuff like that. Nickelodeon does stuff like that every once in a while. I don't know if it's in the cards for us. I mean, it definitely seems more possible now than it did before, because Netflix bought the show and put it up, and then it was like #1 streaming for like 5 weeks, and that was great. And then the band from the show, they would do live performances back in the day, and they are reuniting in Chicago and New York City in December, and I will be there in New York to go watch them reunite. So
and manage them, of course.
Oh, totally. I mean, the confusion from kids over the last 10 years of like, wait, so you wrote the songs and you managed the band? And I'll be like, I am an actor, and this is what happens when you're this good.
That's wonderful.
People just believe it, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's the best thing about kids. They're dumb. You can tell them anything.
Oh, God bless
them. No, I mean that, of course, bless them. But, you know, just with youth comes dumbness, and they don't know yet. Have fun with that.
I've had so many kids leave CDs on my car over the years, just like, you know, asking me to represent them or produce their bands. And then you're like, it's not a thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if that was in there somewhere, like tucked away in your resume that you had at one time done something like that. Talking about the show, I was wondering, because I wanted to look up your IMDb page. I do that with everyone. I do this probably if I'm watching a new movie or TV show. If I could get the analytics from my phone, I'd probably check IMDb 10 times during a movie or a show that I've just started watching.
I'm right there with you. I was doing it last night. Yeah.
I thought that was this weird thing that I did because obviously it helps if you recognize somebody and you don't know their name. But even if I know who somebody is in a show, I got finished recently watching, it wasn't great, but I really enjoyed it. Lock and Key.
Great show.
Yeah.
Great show.
I loved it so much. I had a friend come over while I was watching it and he goes, "This is officially the worst crap I've ever seen you watch on television." I'm like, well, I'm enjoying it. So shoo. But I went down so many wormholes with that show. I just love IMDb. I love that we can do that. I love that we can find out things about people, you know, and to go, oh, well, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to bookmark that film. I'm going to find out where I can watch it.
Yeah, because I mean, when we were growing up, that didn't exist. Either you knew things about the cast or you didn't know things. And the information, it was like if you had Starlog magazine or Entertainment Weekly, you know, you could learn things after a show was out or a movie was out. But it's like now, you know, you can really deep dive into your favorite stuff. Like, I'm super obsessed with this show Dope Sick that's on
the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah, the HUUUGE show.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's on the list. It's coming. It just came out a few weeks ago, I think. Yeah,
it's unbelievable. The acting is like through the roof. I mean, just phenomenal. Peter Skarsgård is just so damn good. Everyone's so good. But I was just in Ohio and I was watching TV in the middle of the night, and the only thing that was on was the Tim Allen television sitcom that he does now.
Oh, the new one?
The new one. And I was like, this is god awful. And I'm watching it just going, oh, this is terrible. And one of the daughters on the show, I'm like, wait a second, is that the girl from Dope Sick? And I then went over to Dope Sick on IMDb and I'm like, it's the same girl. And she just like,
that's a switch.
Like the difference between watching her on like a well-crafted, beautifully written piece of drama or a very silly sitcom is like, it's just mind-blowing.
That's some good range there. She's not being typecast. Well, I was on there earlier. Actually, I was on there earlier today for other reasons, but I was on there earlier because I wanted to see your IMDb page. And my friends and I play a game. We call it the IMDb game. When we talk about an actor or actress or director, we have to guess the top three because that's what's always featured on IMDb. Well, there's always a fourth, but we play it with the top three. And it's always fun to ask people who have IMDb pages if they know their top three, because sometimes they can change. There's algorithms. I believe you can go in and adjust it if you want to, if you're accredited. So you want to play?
Yeah, please.
Do you know?
My top three?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Big Time Rush, right?
Number one?
Number one is Big Time Rush?
Mm-hmm. You got to give me all three before I give you points.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Number two is Storks.
Okay. All right.
I think number three is either, Workaholics or Monster Hunter.
All right. Are you ready? You did really well. You did really, really well. Slightly wrong order. Number one on your IMDb page, Stephen Kramer Glickman, is Storks. And number two is Big Time Rush. And number three is Monster Hunter. So well done, sir.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
great.
pleased
What's
with the
number
top
four?
three?
What's my number four?
Number four is Shrek the Musical.
Ah! Oh, it's so weird.
And today my podcast is brought to you by the wonderful folks at Early Bird. I just actually telling all you radio listeners, your ear listeners, not your eye listeners, about this packaging here. It's awesome. These are just the 4-packs that I've always got one of these with me. And it's not just CBD, it's THC as well, guys. And so it just makes you feel great without feeling lit. You're not going to feel super high on these things. If you're like me and you don't really like that weed high, this I feel good about. I tell my mum about this, guys, because I don't feel like it's anything bad. It's all natural, it's local, and you can get 20% off your first order right now. earlybirdcbd.com/Deb. That's earlybirdcbd.com/Deb. All right, if you had to rate your favorites out of those 4 in order, and it could be based on your preference, whether you enjoyed the your performance in it, you enjoyed watching it, you enjoyed just working with those people, or it's the one you hate watching yourself in the least?
Oh, sure. Storks.
Because you're not in it. Yeah, it's got to be.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing I've gotten to be a part of.
Great cast on that film.
So cool. I mean, like the cast was incredible, but the production team on that. I mean, I got to work with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who did Lego Movie and Into the Spider-Verse, and then Doug Sweetland and Nick Stoller were our directors, and Nick did Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek. And,
wow.
Doug Sweetland was nominated for an Academy Award for Presto, and he's a brilliant. I mean, he's like, you watch that Pixar documentary about the history of Pixar. He's in every scene of the movie. He's always there.
You've worked with animation royalty.
Yeah. I mean, every single Brad Lewis won the Academy Award for Ratatouille. He was a producer on it. He was there with us all the time. And John Venzen, our editor, did South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
Wow.
And like also every single person that worked on it was like, the reason I loved it is because on Big Time Rush, I was like the big dog, on the show. I had just had some really big life experience right before it, working on Shrek. So I hadn't, I came in with like a little bit of something, and everybody in the cast was like super nice and super great, but most everyone was pretty new, and this was like either their first thing or they had been in a couple of small things beforehand. So I felt like, kind of like I was, either like the big dog on campus, or I was one of the big people on the show.
One of the pack.
Not the same with Storks, I was like the fly on the wall. Like that was like so excited to be there that I was like nervous and sweaty and panicky all the time. And everybody else was like, Glickman, like relax, you're good. I'd be like, oh, like I'm gonna get fired at any. There's gonna be a day I'm gonna walk in, they're gonna say goodbye. And it almost happened. They almost replaced me with a much more famous person.
Wow, get out! But you kept the job. You kept it.
They fought. The producers fought really hard and like fought against the studio, and the studio agreed, to keep me on. And
I was just. I was going to ask you, life changing was those experiences with those actors. There were two questions about this. I was going to ask you who the studio was, because I kind of want to throw them under the bus and say, I don't think they did a very good job with marketing this movie. I'd never heard of it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, if I'm going to watch animated films, kids films, because I was just watching the Penguins of Madagascar the other day.
Sure. Yeah.
It's so good. I was watching it with my friend who's 6, my best friend's son. So I frequently am looking for great movies that these kids can watch, so they're not always watching the same ones that drive their parents nuts. This has not been on my radar, and that's a sin.
There's a couple reasons for that. Reason number one is in the animated world, making an animated movie where all the characters are original, it's an original storyline, and it's not based on any IP is
hard to make traction.
Almost never happens. Like there are very, very few of them that get done. Disney does it, but other animation studios really don't take chances with brand new characters. I mean, there's been like 5 How to Train Your Dragons,
I've watched all of those.
I mean, they're all amazing.
Yeah.
But with Storks, it was, it was original screenplay, original characters, not based on anything. Number one. And then number two, it was, the studio was a little unsure of themselves, I think, with the project. I think they were like, I think they were a little weird about it because they were trying to. There was our movie and this was Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers had just had Lego Movie and it was like a gigantic fucking monster hit. So then they're sitting around, and they have two movies. They have ours and they have another movie called Smallfoot, both animated.
Right, I remember seeing Smallfoot. I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing advertising for Smallfoot.
Well, so they were developing both at the exact same time. And halfway, I think a year into or 2 years into development, they were like, okay, shut down Smallfoot. And they put everyone in the animation department on Stork. And then Storks went on to make around 185 million in the box office. It was made for about 72 million, which is not bad, but also not like a big enough hit for it to like garner a sequel. Like it probably would have had to make around 300 million to get a sequel.
I feel like 180 million nowadays in this climate with theater is a success in a theatrical release. It's almost like a comedy of errors was happening around the timing and other projects, which I suppose that's life, but it sucks for that project.
It's also a tricky subject because babies, babies are, like how babies are made. That means then you have to explain to your kids. There's a lot of that, you have to explain to your kids how babies are made if you go see Storks. And also the movie starred a lot of birds, and birds are not the cuddliest creatures in the world. A lot of, aside from maybe Tweety Bird, there's very few famous, well-beloved, squishy, cuddly birds.
That's very true. Very true.
Penguins. But again, Penguins of Madagascar was from the movie Madagascar. So, you kind of, it's a tricky thing making animation, but I had a fucking amazing experience, and I got to work with Kelsey Grammer one-on-one and Andy Samberg one-on-one, and got to hang with Jennifer Aniston, and
wow.
I mean, my God, holy baby Jesus. And I got to sing in the movie. I mean, that's
so that's number one, and I can see why. There's so many lovely things that went into that for you. And I'm not an actor, but I've been in media, radio for 20 years. I would love to just do the voice thing, and not ever have to worry about the face thing. And I'm sure a lot of actors feel that way. Your face is 25 foot on the big screen. You scrutinize everything about yourself.
I don't have a problem, like personally, when it comes to watching myself on screen. I'm a big ham, and I always have been, and I don't really mind, rewatching old episodes of my show.
Oh, that's great.
All that kind of stuff seems like fun and silly to me, and I love Hollywood. Like, I'm a super obsessed nerdy about everything here, and so I just kind of the voiceover stuff. The best part about that is that you can just become weird people and weird characters and creatures, and not have to worry about that they're seeing this. Yeah. It's like,
it's all inside.
In the movie, I played a pigeon who talks like this the whole time, and it has this like really like stupid kind of like dumb, weird like surfer kind of voice sort of, but also like, and I was like uses like consonants are very well, mostly it's all vowels. And then I also got to play the polar bear in the movie, which was a couple lines, and he talked like this. He was like a big, like tough, like New Yorker, like guy. And then I was the rabbit who had one line, which I just did a Tracy Morgan impression for it.
Oh, that's great! And, come on, you have to give us the rabbit.
He had one line which was like, "That dude's crazy." So that was it.
That was it. That is a really good Tracy Lawrence. I'll have fun. I just can imagine your inner child is coming out. Your, amateur
All that
theater
stuff
performer. Yeah.
Yeah, like all the stuff that makes you like, a big dork where people are like, oh my God, just shut the fuck up, dude. Like all that stuff, you guys should just do all of it.
Yeah, all the stuff your friends have seen and heard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Now that summer is over, I know for a lot of you, you're in winter right now, but I live in Texas, so we have lots of sun all year round. But what's great about this time of year is that's when I start really, really investing in time and taking care of my skin. And in fact, the folks over at Refine Aesthetics, they tell me the same thing too. They're like, this is laser season. You're not in the sun so much. If you're worried about fine lines, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, that's what I have on my skin. These lasers that they have at Refine Aesthetics are incredible, and they can really help you with so many different skin issues that you suffer throughout the summer, but you don't want to deal with in the summer when you're out under the sun. This is not just an aesthetic spa. This is a premier boutique med spa. We've got physician's assistants owning and running this place. They're basically doctors, so you know you're in safe hands. They've got great products, great services. I had the BBL laser, which is amazing. You can call them today, of course, or find all the information online at refineaesthetics.com. Get 15% off your first treatment. refineaesthetics.com. Mention the Deb O'Keefe podcast. I had a comedian, Doug Benson, on my show.
I love him.
Isn't he wonderful? A couple months ago, another huge movie buff. We developed a game that he actually plays when he does his live shows, and we let him steal our game, and that's fine because we stole his. But we were chatting the other week, and he was telling me that he has a theory about Jennifer Aniston, and I'm not trying to like start a war with you, Jennifer Aniston, but get at me if you want to. That'd be a real fun thing to do. Doug, and I don't know how Jennifer Aniston came up, but you've worked with her, you've hung out with her. Maybe you can tell me if this is true. Doug Benson is convinced that Jennifer Aniston's got something wrong with her ears, because he says when she does interviews and she acts, she'll just she'll take the hair that's sort of near her face. I'm doing an example for you right now, and she'll kind of like move it like she's going to sweep it behind her ear, but then she never does. She just goes, move, let go. And I thought about it when he said that. He's right. He's absolutely right.
Oh,
so he's just, and I'm asking for Doug Benson. Does she?
Yeah.
And he thought maybe it's because she's had plastic surgery and her ears are all weird or old or something. And I'm like, well, maybe she's just insecure. I feel like I have weird ears and I hate my hair being tucked behind my ears. My mum, when I was a kid, would constantly tuck behind the ear, and I'd be like, get off that bloody thing. So maybe that's Jennifer Aniston too. But what's the juice?
I mean, as far as I could tell, her ears were normal ears. But that being said, did
you see them?
I did not. I wasn't like up on the ears. So I don't know 100%. I do like, she has like things. She has like mannerisms.
She does. Yeah.
Like, she has some like weird mannerisms that kind of make her, make her Jennifer Aniston, which is kind of, it's kind of a crazy. She's so famous that it's kind of a bit shocking how famous a person she is.
Right.
Like she showed up to our premiere, and I think she kind of sort of let people, I want to say she may have let people believe she was pregnant at the premiere of our movie about babies. She may have she may have either said something or done something to let people think that it was possible and not correct it until after the movie was out.
Yeah.
Because literally the press was, I've been to a lot of fucking premieres in my life and been to a lot of animated movie premieres. The press is never like that. It was never like Time Magazine and fucking Newsweek and CNN and ABC and Fox cameras just film cameras as far as the eye can see, and then another just massive wall. It's just because she was there. The only other time I've ever seen that happen, and I hate to bring it up this way, but Kung Fu Panda premiere was Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and Jack Black were at the same one.
That's that's too much fame in one place. It's
too much famous people. It's too much famous people. Like, I think we've kind of hit a point in movies these days where like you can have one of those people in a movie. Like, you look at Eternals, that's out right now. The entire cast is like good actors, and then it's Angelina Jolie. It's not Angelina Jolie and Leonardo DiCaprio in the same fucking thing. I think they may have stopped. I don't know what movie stopped that from happening, but I haven't seen a movie in a while where the two leads are mega giant. I mean, look at Tom Hanks. He's in a movie right now for Apple TV. He's the only person in the movie. Yeah. There's no other people in the movie.
That's how to shine.
It's just him, a CGI robot, and a dog that also might be CGI, but I don't know.
I think he's real. I think he's real, but I think they might CGI some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the dog looks really good. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I don't know. I think... Have you watched The Morning Show with her, Jennifer? And
I was going to bring that up. That, again, almost too much fame in one place. It's like being in the sky with the shining night stars, and there's too many of them. You can't take it all in.
Yeah, you're like, how am I just Steve Carell alone, I will watch something over. But then to have Steve Carell and Jennifer and Reese, you're like, oh my God, I don't even know where to look. I'm just... I love that show. It's amazing.
I really loved it too, and I haven't caught up on season 2 yet, so don't spoil anything for me. But I would have to say one of my favorite things about it is, I could relate very much to a 2-person hosting team like that, but also what I loved about it was what a evil, awful, just reprehensible person Steve Carell is in that show, and yet managed to pull the wool over all these people's eyes for years. It was just very timely, and the departure for him being the lovable, affable guy. And I know he's done a lot of serious things since, but this for such a famous actor to take on being such a creep, raper, pervert, molester, assaulter was, and Martin Short too. That scene where that scene. That was
incredible.
If I'd had a hat on, I would have taken it off for those dudes, because for those high profile guys to play those low life, disgusting, reprehensible men was that's a bold move.
Yeah, it starts to get a little. Season 2 starts. There's a lot. There's a lot of amazing stuff that's happening.
Putting it on the list. Why did I watch Lock and Key when I could have watched The Morning Show?
What are you doing?
All right, that guy who told me I was an idiot, he was right on that too. I should have been watching Morning Show. What else is on your watch list? Like, what are you super? Have you seen Eternals yet? Are you into the Marvel universe?
No, I'm going to go this. I'm obsessed with Marvel. I missed seeing it this weekend. Because I was in Ohio. So doing my first live concert, which was really a beautiful, wonderful experience. But
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you about that. I watched some videos online. What? Where does that voice come from? What is going on with all this talent that is not on the IMDb page that we can't just read about? This stunning.
It's something. It is something else. I gotta get it something up on IMDb. I should probably get the music videos up on IMDb, because that you can do that like completely spaced on that. So I should at least try. It has been a very interesting year and a half.
Yeah. You pivoted. You pivoted.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody. Yeah. I always feel like I need to say that, because it's like, it is for everyone. It was, people lost loved ones, like very, I didn't lose anyone. Thank God.
With you on that one.
But I had a girlfriend. We were together for 8 years, and we broke up during the pandemic, right in the middle, right in the fucking center of it. And then then I got COVID, and then I was like sick, and then I was alone, and it was just me and my pug and my piano, which you can see behind me. It was just kind of like, it was a hard period of like being lonely and being by yourself and being afraid of this illness and all this other stuff. And when I kind of started to recover, I started doing live streams on TikTok where I would just take song requests and do an evening of, like, cause I used to play at piano bars back in the day. And I was like the pianist for the Friars Club in Beverly Hills. And I played as the opening act for Dream Girls, the drag queen show on Santa Monica Boulevard. Like a million different weird little, gigs I would do that were music, kind of based gigs. But I never pursued it any more than that, And then suddenly it's like, well, you have all this time. So I started going into the studio and recording songs and doing songs that like meant something to me and, whatever. Yeah. And,
that's amazing.
Short, the album came out in August. It's called The Moving Company. It's out on Spotify and everywhere. And then started getting booked to do colleges and universities and jazz clubs and all sorts of stuff. So my next one is going to be at the Cutting Room in New York City. I'm doing a show with Casey Abrams from American Idol. We're doing a show together December 17th. So I'll be out there doing a night of music.
I love it. But you're a Renaissance man, I believe. You're a 2021 Renaissance man doing it all.
Well, I try. I sure do try.
Well, we'll make sure we link all of your projects. Of course, I want to mention the Nighttime Show, your podcast.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'm getting to work with Hot Pie on a new show called Working, where I interview people that run companies and talk to them about their lives and their job and how it affects their life. And it's really cool. We just started recording interviews for that, so that's been
that's
really,
incredible.
Really
well, I look forward to seeing that. And when you're in the building next time, let's grab some crackers and a coffee together.
Please. You're so awesome. Thank you so much for letting me come and do this. And you have such a great voice too. So
thanks so
hopefully
much.
I'll get to meet you in person. I'm going to hopefully be out in Austin really soon.
Yeah. And now that we're double vaxxed, we can have a hug. I really missed hugs. If you don't mind, I'm going to come in for the real thing on that one.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You're a doll. Thank you so much for coming on today. Stephen Kramer Glickman. Love you.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you so much. Oh, well, aren't I lucky? That was really nice. That was a really lovely chat with Stephen Kramer Glickman. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go back and watch that Nickelodeon show. That's not my my style. But Storks, Storks. I'm going in on some Storks this weekend. And now, just to end the show, a cute little chat we were having before we actually logged on and started recording the podcast today. And it went somewhere I did not anticipate. So, you'll just have to listen. I don't even want to cut this out. I might just have Colton edit this in, but I have a funny story for you about Andy Dick. He's not, he doesn't seem to be a dick. He seems to be kind of a nice enough dude, but he had been on my show. I'd interviewed him and he had a live show that night, which incorporates like music and comedy and performance. I don't even really know how to explain, but it's like if Andy Dick did a stage show. I mean, just use your imagination. So, he had said, come back, come up to the dressing room and see me. And before I go on, I was like, all right, I'm not fucking you, dude. Plus, I can't figure out if you're gay or straight. I don't know what you're into. But I went up there to see him before the show. Some friends wanted to go to the show, so I popped up there. And while I was in the studio, I had to do the most random thing. I didn't have to, but he asked me to, and I thought it'd make a great story, and it did. But he was wearing some outfit for the performance that he was about to start, but he needed to tape his dick under himself. I wish you could see Stephen's face. Listeners only.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it.
I taped Andy Dick's wang up his bum hole. Not in the hole.
You did that for him?
Yeah, it wasn't in that. It wasn't in the bum hole. It was just in the bum. It was like back there, and I just whacked some tape on there. Then he went on to do the show. For what I know, the dick tape did stay in place. So I should probably put that on my resume.
I think so.
I might be able to do something with it.
Could get you a job, different, some sort of, I don't know what kind of job it'll get you, but it can get you
fluffing,
possibly. Fluffing. Yeah, that does count, I think, as fluffing.
And that is a good, honest paying job. It's a job.
Yeah.
Not for me. Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.